Hi, I'm Ryan Boarman. I'm a conservation ecologist. Today I'm going to be presenting my capstone project from the University of Colorado Boulder in the Earth Data Analytics program. And I'll be presenting Spilled Secrets, Uncovering the Effects of Oil Spills on Wildlife in the North Sea. So how do oil spills even occur? These oil spills can occur from vessel accidents, offshore drilling, pipeline ruptures, equipment failure, and often these oil spills go unreported and are overlooked, and especially these smaller oil spills which can accumulate over the years. And these small oil spills can come from ships and oil platforms, which is the focus of this project. These oil spills have a devastating impact on marine ecosystem, and the oil floats on the surface of the water, and this can have immediate harm and damage to wildlife, especially in birds and mammals. Oil contains many compounds that can harm wildlife. It can cause death, cancers, organ damage from inhalation and ingestion. Some oil compounds can linger on the water for a long time and accumulate. Also, habitat destruction, sensitive environments like coral reefs, mangroves, salt marshes can suffer lasting damage, making them unsustainable for species. Oil spills can disrupt food chains. Oil can contaminate plankton, which is the base of the marine food chain, resulting in a ripple effect throughout the ecosystem. Long-term health issues. Animals that survive oil exposure can suffer from long-term health, affecting the reproduction and longevity of the animal. And also there's an economic and human impact. Oil spills can devastate local fisheries, global trade, affecting human livelihood and economies, and causing food security issues. My project goals are to understand the impact of these small oil spills from ships and oil platforms in the North Sea that they have on the wildlife. I'd like to identify the countries responsible for the oil spills, identify the most affected species, and do all this within Python to automate the process and create a tool to plug in oil spills, and that will generate graphs and figures. Here's an outline of my methodology. Firstly is the data acquisition. The first data source I use is from Waggett et al. 2019, and these are species distribution models for 24 species, 12 birds, 12 mammals, and these are measured in number of species per kilometer square. And there's a different model for each species for each month, so as the year progresses, the distribution changes. And the second data source is from SkyTruth. And SkyTruth created an algorithm to automatically scan the ocean and identify oil spills. So the data set I'm using is from 2020 detected oil spills. And these oil spills are from ships and oil platforms only. And these are measured in number of oil spills per kilometer squared by country. The next step in my methodology is processing the data. This consisted of filtering, cropping, and cleaning. Next step is to analyze the data. So I standardize the data. I use zonal statistics to extract the information that I needed, and also generated summary statistics. And the final step of my methodology was to create maps, plots, and reports to visualize the data. And now for some results in my discoveries. So this figure shows the total number of oil spills detected in 2020. It's 475 oil spills. And we can see the spread throughout the year from January to December, with August being the highest number of oil spills detected. To get a better understanding of which countries were responsible for these oil spills, I took the number of oil spills and divided it by 10,000 kilometers squared. And when we look at this, we see that although Germany is a small area, it had a large number of oil spills. And also UK was responsible for a large number of oil spills in 2020. So this is the most interesting figure. On the x-axis you have the 24 species that I analyzed, and in red are considered the IUCN vulnerable species. So among the 24 species I examined, 6 of them were IUCN vulnerable species. And of the top 5 species most affected by oil spills, we can see that 3 of them are IUCN vulnerable species. The black-legged kittiwake, harbor porpoise, and northern fulmar. So this just highlights the power and use case of utilizing this tool to really examine which species are being most affected by these oil spills that often go unreported. Some future developments on this project: I want to refine the outputs and visualizations so I could communicate these findings to a more broad audience. And I've already created an interactive figure where you can select the individual species, and a plot will be generated showing the number of species affected and which countries are responsible for this. So I think creating a web application so the public can utilize this tool, I think, is very important. This just sheds more attention on how these small oil spills could actually accumulate and affect our wildlife and ecosystems. Thank you for listening. I wanted to thank EarthLab for the assistance, and also SkyTruth for supplying me with the oil spill data. And please feel free to email me if you have any questions or comments. Thanks.